Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, taking a look at the DRF race of the day for Thursday, October the 8th. Let's throw up the field for race number 9 at Belmont Park, a wide open entry-level allowance race for fillies and mares. We're going 3/4 of a mile on Belmont's inner turf course. You can download free formulator past performances for this race on the race of the day event page at DRF.com. Access them, handicap along with us. Let's throw up the Timeform US pace projector for this race. Really fascinating that we got a blue bar scenario in a turf sprint. Blue bar, of course, in Timeform US parlance means that this race might favor horses on or near the early lead. So perhaps an advantage to the 11 break curfew, adding blinkers for Steve Asmussen.
Yeah, I guess it could be, Dan. We'll see if she makes the lead. I guess she does have some speed, but she's not, exactly a bullet. Maybe she'll be on the front in here. The pace is very difficult to decipher in here, as is the competition. I thought this was a well-matched field, and it wasn't easy for me to land on anyone.
Do you think the 8 fetching can be a little bit closer to the pace? I know she set route fractions last time out, but she's shown the ability to stay a little bit closer in her prior sprint races.
Yeah, she has. I won't expect to put it this way. I don't know if she'll be on the lead, Dan, but I don't think she's going to be last early like the pace projector has her.
Now, a horse lacking pace data is the number 1 Lovely Queen. You won't see a chicklet for her because she's a foreign shipper coming in for Chad Brown. She's got a beautiful pedigree. I mean, she's a half to a grade 2 stakes winner, a grade 3 stakes winner, a grade 3 stakes placed horse. Here's the problem. I'm not sure what she beat in her most recent race, and her most recent race was 2 years ago.
And that's the big problem. I mean, she ran well in both of her starts as a 2-year-old, but she hasn't run since then. It's been over 700 days since she started. We'll see what we get off the layoff. Obviously, she's pretty tough to take off of that kind of a layoff. We'll just see what happens, Dan. It's not like she meets the strongest field in the world. It is at least worth pointing out. She's been over here for a long time. I mean, she came over right after that maiden win. She's been with Chad, or I'm assuming with Chad, since December of 2018. She just hasn't run.
It just seems like this is a horse that's a watch the board special, that if she takes an inordinate amount of money in this race, then the word is out. But knowing it's Chad, she's got to take at least some money, and off this long layoff, you might want to watch one. The 2 is Bean Counter, who finished ahead of 3 of these common foes last time out. Let's watch that race at Saratoga. They turned her back to 5.5 furlongs off of a facile win against condition claimers 2 starts back. She is last and widest, turning into the stretch. She's going to come with a run. Directly in front of her in the pink silks is a Little Faith, and Bean Counter finished okay in here to get 3rd.
She did. This was a fast and contested pace, though. The closer's going to come along late to fill this thing out. You saw the horse that wins it there, the 2, was basically on even terms with Bean Counter in the upper stretch and just outfinished her at the end. There are things to like about Bean Counter, Dan. She's got figures. She seems versatile as far as distance goes. She's run well going longer. She's run well sprinting. I don't know. There are things to like about her, but out of that last race, I'd rather have other horses.
I would rather have a Little Faith, the number 3. I thought she ran well against New York breds 2 starts back off of the long layoff at Saratoga. And in the race we just saw, she didn't break great from the inside post. I think that Jose Ortiz could have been a little more aggressive early in grabbing a spot on the inside. Instead, he wrangled her back, took her to the outside, and kind of moved into the teeth of that pace. She has some upside. She's progressive.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'd rather have her out of that race, and this is a filly I will definitely use. She went 2 for 3 sprinting on turf last year. She won off of that layoff, as you mentioned. I didn't think she ran horribly last time. I think the break really did cost her a little bit.
Very logical contenders up next. The 4 Notorious RBG for the Christophe Clement stable. Let's watch her last race. This is only her 4th lifetime start, and she ran well in here. I thought that Joel rode her a little bit too confidently on the backstretch, Mike. I think he could have gotten a bit more forward with her. He was able to save some ground. He's coming on the outside now, splitting horses in the blue cap, and she's just going to get nosed out. It was yet another solid performance for a filly that's got plenty of figs.
Yeah, she does have figures, and she has really good tactical speed. So it feels like in this kind of a race where the pace situation can be a little murky, you just sort of expect her to get another good trip, and that could go a long way. Listen, if I'm being honest, I don't love any of her races, even when she won on debut. I mean, she just got a perfect trip in that race and won. And other than that, I don't think she's really done all that much to get excited about, especially if she's going to take money. But she could certainly win this race.
The 5 Dovey Loveys entered main track only, so we'll move to the 6 Bay Jewel, who will be attempting turf for the first time. She's 30-1 on the morning line. I like the New Year's days on the turf. 14% winners with first-time turf runners. There's just not a lot of turf on the bottom of this pedigree. The dam's a half to Artax, who won the Breeders' Cup Sprint. Long layoff.
Yeah, I didn't find enough pedigree to get interested. I'm actually a little bit of a fan of this horse as on the main track. I think she's run some okay races. We'll see what happens on turf. I wonder if they're just giving her a race here to switch her back to the main track off the layoff.
Coast Benefit, the number 7, is 9-2 on the morning line. And I have to admit, I don't really like either one of her races going long. In her debut, she did beat a couple of next out winners. She set the pace down towards the inside, and she was kind of just game more than anything else in between horses. The wire came just in the nick of time as the big favorite. And last time out, I just didn't see the excuse. She set the pace, and the pace was contested, but it was contested with a 37-1 shot that ended up finishing ahead of her.
Yeah, I think both of those things are kind of true. I mean, ultimately, I didn't love her debut, at first blush. Once that race was over, I didn't think I wanted any of those horses. As it turns out, the second and third finishers have actually both come back to really improve out of that race. And then last time, I guess I'll just give her the benefit of the doubt. That was a solid pace. The closers came along at the end of that race to take over. I don't know. She didn't run great, but she didn't run terrible. I just don't know how much I want her sprinting, Dan. We'll see what kind of price she is.
I have a feeling she's going to be okay sprinting. Chad's done this very well in the past. And in a race without much pace, she has shown middle distance speed. I think she can be close. I'm curious to see what happens if she can get covered up. I think that's really the key to her. I think that's a positive, the turn back. And I think she faced just much tougher horses last time out. The winner of that race ran third in the Lake George with an 86 Spire. Runner-up came back to run third a couple of times. Fourth place horse came back to win. Let's watch Fetching. First off the claim last time out, going long at Belmont, and was able to get to a nice, easy lead, Mike. Lashara pushed her throughout. There's no closing going on, but Fetching digs down deep. This is a filly that has a strong will to win, and she's versatile. She's run well sprinting in the past. It's all about how close she can stay to the pace.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, she got a very nice trip in this race, right up there on a very modest pace. She's very game through the stretch stand. She's just no match for some better horses there. She's getting class relief here. At the end of the day, and you're right that she's run fine going longer. At the end of the day, I much prefer her as a sprinter. Maybe 7 furlongs is a little better for her, but I think 6 is good for her too. I like her cutting back for this.
Festina Plente, the number 9, will be making her first start in almost a year and her first start in North America. A solid runner overseas, mostly on the synthetic. She was actually offered at public auction before her most recent start, bought back for about $55,000, then earned a stakes placing over synthetic. I'm just not sure how much upside we're going to get here. I'm not sure if she's purely a turf horse. I want to watch one off the layoff, although I think from a class standpoint, she fits.
Yeah, she probably does. She hasn't shipped in to face the strongest field in the world. I mean, her turf races, sort of towards the end or middle of last year, I guess, the summer and the end of the summer, they weren't bad at all, Dan. A couple of seconds, a close third, a win going 7 furlongs, and then they went back to synthetic with her, where she also ran fine. Mike Stidham does a good job with these horses. He gets these imports and they run for him. I just don't know how much I love this horse. I guess we'll see what kind of price she is, and if she's a big one, maybe you want to use her.
I think I'm making a big mistake in not upgrading the chances of the 10 Sweet Kisses, who to me just looks like a dirtied up horse. In her first 2 races, she looked very, very good on the dirt. In her second start, she beat Finite, who came back to do some very good things on dirt earlier this year. She beat Mrs. Danvers, a promising horse that never really panned out. And then they ran her in the Tempted, going a mile, a stakes race. Then they ran her on Slop once. Then they ran her on in a muddy track once. And last time out on turf, I thought that Louis Saez off of the long layoff could have been a little more forward. He wrangled her back off of the duel, and then she ran into kind of the teeth of the pace and finished okay. I think she's going to the lead with the blinkers on.
Yeah, I kind of agree with your take on it. I wish I had her a little higher in my picks because we already looked at the replay of that race, where the closers came at the end and took over, and she was very close to that pace, which at the end of the day was just too fast. It doesn't feel like this race will be run like that at all. And if she makes the lead in here, she can be tough.
And now she'll be making her second start off of a long layoff. She probably needed that race. The 11 is Break Curfew. Let's watch this performance at Laurel from 2 starts ago. This is a disappointing effort. She's just been stuck in the non-winners of one allowance effort for a long time. She has a look at this in mid-stretch, Black Silks, and she's just going to be one paced and finished third, beaten a half length. She bounced out of this race and she got beat on dirt, where she's actually won both of her lifetime races. Her figures do fit with these horses. She can be forwardly placed with the addition of blinkers. I don't know. I've just gotten tired of her act.
Yeah, me too. I mean, listen, I get all the reasons that she could possibly be competitive here, but I didn't like her much as a dirt horse. She hasn't done anything in her 2 turf starts to make me change my mind. And this just is a horse that I don't want any part of in yet.
Wide open race. Let's take a look at our top selections for the Thursday DRF race of the day. You're going with Fetching again, like the versatility. You like her cutting back in distance, and I do think she can stay within range.
I do too, especially with Jose Lezcano aboard. He's a very aggressive rider. I think he'll have her in the right spot. And I just like her cutting back then. I think her form overall fits really well in this field.
It was such a tough race. Again, I didn't love cost benefits 2 routes, but I think cutting back to a sprint's going to be okay for her. And I think the drop in class will be okay for Chad as well. Wide open. 8-3-7-1 for Mike, 7-6-8-10 for me. It's your Thursday DRF race of the day, and it is race number 9 at Belmont Park. Best of luck.